Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is called What Will It Take for Cruising to Start Again? What do the cruise lines have to do for us to go cruising? Thank you all of you for subscribing to Traveling with Bruce, giving my videos thumbs ups, leaving me comments. I really appreciate it. Welcome to August the 30th, 2020. Well, without a vaccine, what will it take for cruise lines to be able to start cruising again? What has to happen? I have about 7 different items here. Number 1, well, it's kind of up to us. We've got to have a major decrease in the number of cases of the virus. And I'm not just talking North America, I'm talking worldwide. I think we're going to have to see at least a 90 to 95% drop in the number of active cases, number of infections on a daily basis for us to have a chance. The second thing, testing. Testing has to become so mundane, so normal, so no big deal. It has to be fast and cheap. And if all cruise lines and airlines and employers and anyone who wants to get one can get one quick and have a result in a few minutes, we've made some major progress, because that'll keep people isolated that have the virus, didn't even know they had it. Social distancing. This one is the biggie. Without social distancing, we can't beat this thing. We've got to have people buying into the idea about wearing a mask, keeping apart from each other. Don't attend parties where folks are not wearing masks. Stay away from big crowds. If we play by the rules, we are giving ourselves a chance at a much more normal life than we've had in the last few months. Now, for the cruise lines, they have to make a number of changes too. It's not just our behavior that's going to have to change. The cruise lines are going to have to make changes, and they're willing to do this. The first one is on-board medical staff. There will be an increased number of medical people on board cruise ships, and the so-called protocols for cleaning surfaces where people touch handrails and all these other surfaces, there is going to be a huge improvement there, a major focus by the cruise lines to really keep these ships in super spit and polished shape. We are going to have to be careful as well on what surfaces to touch and how to touch them. We're going to have to wash our hands often and really buy into the notion. Number 2, for the cruise lines, they're going to have to provide cabins that might have to be used by those folks who test positive during a cruise. But these cannot be jail cell-like cabins, inside cabins with no view, making people feel caged in. We're talking ocean view and maybe some balcony cabins that are going to have to be reserved just in case a number of people get ill. However, I think that this is a collaborative effort between cruise lines, passengers, and cruise ports. This is not simply just a cruise ship thing and a passenger thing. I think that all ports of call that accept cruise ships are going to have to buy into the notion that there's a chance when a cruise ship comes to town, there might be a passenger that has tested positive for the virus. They might not be showing signs and symptoms, but they've been testing positive. And these folks are going to have to be allowed to disembark the ship, of course, in a safe way, obviously. And they're going to have to be allowed to quarantine themselves on the port of call, at the port of call. Say it's the Cayman Islands, there might be a hotel designated for rooms. The cost will be borne by the cruise line and the passenger. The country won't be out of pocket. If the passenger becomes sicker, if they become very ill a few days later and need hospitalization, they're going to have to be allowed to use the hospitals at that port of call. Which brings me to my next point, and that is I think cruise lines are going to have to put together a deal either with insurance companies or on their own. And if I were these cruise lines, I would be working together with the other cruise lines and pool it together ourselves. And that is, I would offer, I wouldn't even offer it. It's a mandatory package. It's a mandatory insurance package built into every cruise fare that is sold to cruisers. It might be a $50 cost, and it covers the passenger for all costs with no deductibles for testing, for quarantine expenses, hospital expenses, flights home. And it will also cover the travel companion of that individual as well. So if it's a husband and wife and the husband gets ill, the wife is covered as well. She can accompany her husband. I think if this were built into the cruise fare and all cruise lines did it, in other words, there's no way you can't buy this product, it's part of your deal, I think the cruise lines can raise more than enough millions of dollars to cover expenses for passengers who get ill. If they've been tested right before they got on the ship and they're testing positive 2 or 3 days later, they're only on the ship for maybe 5 days, 7 days max for a cruise trip. Anyway, the hope is that there'll be very few people that will be found to be positive on board these cruises, especially if they've been tested the day of embarkation. But for the passenger, it's a risk-free way to cruise, knowing that if you get ill or catch the virus on day 3 and you're showing that you're positive, even though you feel just fine, and you have to quarantine in St. Martin, or you have to quarantine in St. Thomas, or you've got to quarantine in another port of call, it's covered. It's covered by the insurance that's built into your fare. Your traveling companion is covered as well to accompany you. And if it's only a 2-week quarantine required and then you're good to go because you're testing negative, you're good to go. You fly home, it's covered, and no expense to you. It's inconvenient, yes, but it's not inconvenient on the bank account in that sense. On the other hand, if you get ill and you need to be admitted into hospital, you're covered for the catastrophic cost of a hospital stay, and that is peace of mind coverage that I think a lot of travelers would be quite interested in knowing they have, which might convince them to want to take the cruise. There may be a lot of people who are sitting on the fence going, gosh, I haven't been on a cruise ship for so long, I'd love to take a cruise, but oh my, what if I get sick on board the ship? What if I test positive 3 days into the cruise? I don't want to have to be saddled with these potentially thousands of dollars of bills that I can't afford. I don't want that to happen to me. Well, with this package here, no deductible, you're fully covered. I think it's a smart move. For the cruise lines, like I said, a ship with 2,000 passengers at $50 a piece, lots of money in the bank to cover insurance claims, and you go 3 or 4 weeks without any claims, and now you have a claim. You might have had 5, 7, 8,000 passengers pay into the plan before any one passenger needs any funding at all to be treated. I think this could be a win. Again, the first point I made has to be the point of this video. The number of infections out there have to drop by at least 90%. We can't have a 15-20% reduction and then just open up cruise ports and let's go cruising, folks. It's just not going to happen. It has to be a major shift. The virus really has to be knocked down, and I think it's in our hands to control it. If we buy into wearing a mask and social distancing, we have a chance to knock this disease way, way down. Obviously, we're all hoping for a vaccine, and we're hoping the vaccine is a miracle vaccine, but something tells me we may have a vaccine, but we might have to take it every year. It might only be a temporary fix, and we still might be susceptible to getting this. We'll have to see how this works out. Thanks again for watching me today on my channel, Traveling with Bruce. What will it take for cruising to start again? The magic question. Again, thank you for subscribing to my channel. Give my videos thumbs ups and sending me comments as well. I appreciate it very much. Take care, everybody. Stay safe and make sure to social distance. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.